Let's do it. We are in effect tonight. This is a really interesting conversation that we're going to have tonight because I was thinking about this earlier and I was trying to make sense of it because you got a lot of people who value postseason. And I'm one of those people. Oh, no doubt about it. I'm definitely one of those people who values the postseason. But with that being said, right? With that being said, do I value the postseason more than I value the regular season? We're gonna talk about that. Absolutely, we'll talk about that because I feel like this is a conversation that definitely needs to be had. This is definitely a conversation that needs to be had, and there's some people who don't want to have it, right? Because a lot of, like I said, a lot of times we get wrapped up in what guys do in the postseason, and not just what they do in the postseason. What don't they do in the regular season? So when you have a guy that's awesome in the postseason, now when you have a guy who's fantastic in the postseason, but he's good in the regular season, or even he's elite in the regular season, just not that long. How can I talk about him like I talk about the rest of the all-time greats? I think that's definitely a conversation that needs to be had because when I think about a guy like Kawhi Leonard, for example, right? When I think about a guy like Kawhi Leonard is a prime example. There's a lot of conversation about what happens if the Clippers win the NBA championship and Kawhi Leonard is the finals MVP. Does he go into the top 10 all time? So are we saying that to say you value the postseason way more than you value the regular season? Because all of this stuff coincides. Like when you talk about all-time great players, James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, Diesel, Bryant, Curry, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Moses Malone, Doc, Kevin Durant, Karl Malone, Kevin Garnett, John Havlicek. When you're talking about all of these, the best to ever do it, right? What up, Eli? How you doing, brother? When you're talking about the best to ever do it, there is one thing that these guys have in common. And the one thing that these guys have in common is consistency. They didn't just do work in the regular season and they were okay in the postseason. They didn't just do work in the postseason and were okay in the regular season. No, they were elite in the regular season. Not only were they elite in the regular season, they were elite in the regular season for a long time. And then that level of play got raised in the postseason. Karl Malone had a stretch where he made the All-Pro team, first team, for 11 straight years. That's awesome regular season work. Then we get to the postseason. His game doesn't fall off like that. They're in the Western Conference Championship 5 times in 7 years. Now he's going up against Buck Williams, right? He's going up against Olajuwon. He's going up against Sean Kemp. He's going up against Otis Thorpe. He's going up against some great players. Buck Williams was first team all defense. And this is who Malone is going up against in the West Finals in 92. And he's a handful. He's an absolute handful. Yes, they lose, but there isn't a huge drop-off with Malone in the postseason. Like his production doesn't go from 29 a game to 21 a game. No, that doesn't happen. That does not happen. But there is a drop-off, sure. It just isn't huge. And I feel like that's the measuring stick. When you're talking about players, right? When you're talking about players who are awesome in the regular season, I think these two things both have to coincide. Both of them do. And the reason why I feel like that is because you can't, I can't talk about you in the same breath that I talk about the all-time greats when we get to the postseason. I can't do it. I can't. I can't talk about you. I can't talk about you like I talk about, like, for example, Jimmy Butler is a prime example of that. Right? Jimmy Butler is a prime example of that. Jimmy Butler is a player who he's been good in the regular season. Some seasons he's actually been elite, made the All-Pro team a number of different times. And then that level of game gets raised in the playoffs. Recently, not always, but recently it has. Like nobody talks about in 21 when Milwaukee swept them out the playoffs. Now the logic would be, well, he was hurt. Okay, sure. He wasn't fantastic against Toronto in the playoffs. He wasn't fantastic against them. Like he didn't eat Kawhi Leonard's lunch. That did not happen. And anybody that tells you that it did, like he didn't do Kawhi Leonard like he did Drew Holiday. That did not happen. There's no way that anybody can sell you that, yo, that went on, because no, it didn't. Did not. When I think about the great players of all time, when they get into the postseason, right? Those great players, when they get into the postseason, and let me tell you, there's a reason why we talk about them the way we talk about them. There's a reason why I have such a difficult time. Right? There's a reason why I have such a difficult time talking about guys that have jumped other guys. Right? There's a reason why I talk about players who jump other guys the way that I do. Like, for example, SGA. Why I don't hold him in the regard that I hold Donovan Mitchell. And it's not just because he's better at basketball. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. Because again, I've seen guys who are better at basketball get outplayed. And I've gone over this more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. Kobe Bryant is better at basketball than Chauncey Billups. Did Chauncey Billups outplay him in the NBA Finals in 2004? Yes, he did. Is Chauncey Billups better than Kobe Bryant? No. I don't want to have that. I do not want to have that conversation because it's not a real one. But better basketball players get outplayed. So the metric of just you being better at basketball, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. I've had such a difficult time dealing with that logic because it's not good enough. The fact that you're a better jump shooter, you're better with your handle. You know, and Jimmy Butler hasn't always been great in the postseason. That's just not true. He hasn't always been fantastic in the postseason. Kawhi Leonard ate his lunch in 19. Ate his lunch in 19 in that postseason when they played against Philly. And make no mistake about it, That's a dogfight series. They beat them. Toronto beat them in Game 7 in overtime on a buzzer beater to win the series. I mean, that's probably as good as it gets. But with that being said, we still have a situation where Kawhi Leonard's game got raised in the postseason, and he was elite in the regular season. Problem with Kawhi Leonard is that he broke down. He wasn't elite in the regular season for long enough, and that's where the problem lies with him. That's why all of these things coincide. When you're talking about a guy that's awesome in the postseason, and he's the Finals MVP in 2019. He's the Finals MVP in 2014 on a team that was pretty damn good, but a lot of those guys were on the other side of who they used to be. But on a team that was pretty damn good, when they lose in the first round of the playoffs in 15, Kawhi Leonard today isn't eligible for any awards because he barely played. He didn't play 65 games that year. And they got bounced in the first round by him. Bounced. So with that being said, when I think about playoff performers, I think about the all-time greats who, when they get to the postseason, they raise their games. And with them raising their games, that's where the legend is created. Right? The legend is created that year. Or at that time. What year was Kawhi Leonard averaged his highest points per game and finished top 10 in MVP and Defensive Player of the Year? What year are you talking about, Green? What year are you talking about? So I'm clear. I want to make sure in 2019. In 2017? Wait a minute. I don't even know what kind of conversation we're having here. What are we talking about? Hold on. I need to understand what it is we're talking about here. So because I feel like I'm getting two different. I'm having two different conversations. Kawhi Leonard in 2015. This is the year that I'm talking about. I don't know what you're talking about when you talk about his highest average in points per game and finished top 10 in MVP. In 2015, I believe in 2015 he averaged 17 a game that year. In the regular season, yeah. In the 14-15 season, he averaged 17, almost 17 a game. That's what I'm talking about. That was the year after they won. That's the year after they won the NBA championship. And 2018, he didn't play that season. He didn't play 2018. I think he only played 7 games that year. He didn't play that much that year. 2014, 2015. No, he wasn't a baby. Let's kill that logic. Matter of fact, this is what I want to do. Let's talk to Aaron from Aaron Creating Realms. Let's talk to Aaron because Aaron wants to talk about Kawhi Leonard. Let's bring Aaron in here because let's get to the bottom of Aaron. Let's get to the bottom of Aaron. I don't want to talk to nobody else right now. I want to talk to Aaron. Come on in here, Aaron. Let's talk. Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard because you want me to talk about him, right? You want me to talk about Kawhi Leonard like I talk about the all-time greats when his body of work in the regular season and the playoffs combined isn't the same. It's not the same. So I want to talk to Aaron. You wanted me to drop the link. Link is in there. Come on in, brother. Let's discuss this. Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard, who in 14, 15, I believe that was year 4, he had just got finished. I believe he had. I believe he had just. I believe he had just. I think he just finished year 4. So what up? Did I lose him? I had him. I don't know who that is. Yes, it is better to be a playoff riser, Jay. But here's the difference. The difference is you still have to perform in the regular season. I don't buy into the logic. There's a reason why I hold Jordan, James, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Lajuan, Diesel, Bryant, Curry, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Moses Malone. There's a reason why I hold these guys in such a high regard, because that regular season, what they did in the regular season, it translated to the postseason. They weren't good in the regular season, and then all of a sudden we get to the postseason and this turns into a guy that we don't know who it is. We don't know who this guy is. Like, where was this guy all year long? I can't do that. I cannot. And the reason why is because if we have a guy that's performing good in the regular season, where he's good enough to make 3rd team All NBA, and then we go from that to him looking like the best player in the playoffs, I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. Where was this all season long? Where was this all season long? Why are we just getting this now? I'm not buying the logic that, well, he turned it on in the playoffs. Turned what on? What are we turning on in the playoffs? What are we? I'm not going to do that. You can do that, Bubba. I'm not doing that. I'm not, because I'm gonna talk about Jimmy Butler. Sure, I am, 100%. If hypothetically, if the Miami Heat were to win the NBA, let's just say for the sake of argument that the Miami Heat win the NBA championship, right? That would be, let's see, 20 last season, 23. Let's see, and then this season, 24. That'll be 3 times in 4 years they were in the NBA Finals, and they end up winning the NBA championship. But during that time, Jimmy Butler. During that time, Jimmy Butler rose. His game was risen in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he was above average. He was elite in a few of those seasons, but he wasn't awesome. So a prime example would be like in the 1920 season when they went to the playoffs, when they went to the finals. Do you think Jimmy Butler in the 1920 season, you think he was elite that year? He was elite in the playoffs, but he wasn't elite in the playoffs in the aspect that it was throughout the playoffs. He was awesome in a few instances, right? He was awesome in a few instances, but I mean, are we writing home about a guy that, you know, he averaged 22 a game in the playoffs that year, and he had a good final series where he took LeBron to task. So do I now talk about him like I talk about, I don't know, Drexler? Do I talk about him? Do I talk about Jimmy Butler like I talk about Reggie Miller? Do I talk about him like I talk about that dude? Do I talk about him like that? Is my question. Because the thing that I want to make clear is, when you are a regular season performer and your game drops in the postseason, it's the same logic. It should be the same logic as if you're a regular season performer in your game, if your regular season is good, and then it gets raised in the postseason, but you don't win. Because what are we doing here if your game does this in the postseason, but it's this in the regular season? If your game does this in the regular season, if your game does this in the regular season and then does this in the postseason, but you don't win, how much better could you have been? How much better could your team have been? How much better could you have been? How much better could you have been? You're asking me to judge a guy on I don't know, let's say a guy gets to the NBA Finals like Jimmy Butler, and they end up playing 20 postseason games. You asking me to judge him on 20 postseason games of him being awesome, as opposed to another guy being awesome in the regular season and being slightly less awesome in the playoffs. I got to put Jimmy Butler ahead of him. Is that what I have to do? I'm interested. I'm interested to know that. How does that work? What up, D?
What's up, OG?
What up?
Yeah, I like what you were saying. I think you started out the conversations about Kawhi, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah. I think me personally, I know if I had to do alternatives, he'd be somewhere in like the 30s, like maybe 35 to 30s probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because his longevity just really hurts him because. I was listening to something the other day, and somebody compare him to Wade, and I was like, I kind of like that comparison. Not from the standpoint of like their career, but like their careers are similar. Like they peaks when they were at their best. I line them up against a lot of people, like, but they longevity kind
You didn't
of
do it long enough.
hurt them from going farther.
Mm-hmm. You didn't do it long.
Like Kawhi, to me, at his best, I think him and Durant is like a push. I would say that's a push.
I don't hate it. I don't. I with Leonard at his best. What would Leonard's best year be for you? Like, and I don't mean. Let me take his year back. All right. When was Leonard at his best?
I know people gonna say 2019 because of the title run and the title bias, but for me, I would say 2017 with the Spurs before he got hurt with the ankle.
Yep.
He was top 3 MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
He was having an all-time postseason run too before he got hurt. Similar to what he was doing in 2019, he just was, in my opinion, a better defender with the Spurs. And he was 50, 40, 90 splits before he got hurt in that run. So
I'm thinking 15 to before he got hurt in 18. I'm thinking 15, 16, 16, 17. Those 2 years. He got hurt in 17, 18. He got hurt. He only played 9 games that year. And then 18, 19, they managed him really well. He was hurt that year too.
Yeah, the year with the Raptors, he missed by 25 guys. They had him in and out.
They managed him really well. His knee problem. He had knee problems that year. So 1920, he was elite that season in the bubble. They ended up going to pieces.
He was balling before he got the back end of that Clippers that Nuggets series. He kind of fell off a little bit, but he was balling here.
So I'm thinking right now, Doug. I'm thinking maybe 4 elite. I'll give you 4 elite seasons. So I'll give you 15, 16. Actually, I'll give you 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 20,
20, 21.
2020. So I'll give you 6 elite seasons. Because he tore his knee up in the playoffs in 21.
I wish he could have played the playoff last year because he was getting that KD.
He tore his knee up in the playoffs in 21. So I'll give you 6 elite seasons in the last. He's been in the league since 11, right? So we're in 14 right now. So we're in year 13. So I'll give you 6 elite seasons. In those 6 elite seasons, you match those up with KD. Where does KD fall? Okay, so 14, 15.
Peak for peak, they'll watch. And I would say KD best year was with the first year with the Warriors in 17 as well, probably. But KD from his second year in 09 to right now, he been that guy. Like he been one of them dudes. So on
I think
all times,
25
he
a
would have
game.
to
I
come.
think 25 a game for like the last 15 years,
Yeah,
something
he
crazy
was
like that.
20. He was 25 guys, second year in the league.
Yeah, so
I
25 a
feel
game
that.
for the last
I
16
feel
years.
that same way. I feel that same way with like I said though, when they were talking about the comparison with him and Wade, I feel the same way about Wade. I always anybody that know me or talk to me, I tell people all the time it might be a hot take or whatever. I think him and Kobe at their best. He didn't stay there for long, but I personally think he was like a slightly better player than Kobe when he was
Who's that? Kawhi
uh,
Leonard?
Wade.
Wade? I don't think there was never a time when Dwayne Wade was better than Kobe Bryant, ever.
I can make a case. Can I make my
Mm-mm,
case?
That was never. But I'm listening. I'm all ears for this.
I think he was more efficient as a player. Kobe had that gear as a scorer where he can just light fire and it's gonna be it probably gonna be nothing you can do.
Right.
But I think he was more efficient as a player. I think he was a significantly better passer. Like in terms of passing vision, making reads,
Mm-hmm.
and being a more willing passer. I
Mm-hmm.
think overall playmaking is kind of Clark still would say Wade as a playmaker too. Cause
Mm-hmm.
it's like his ability to just get to the rim at will. Like first step up there with Jordan. His first step is Jordan level.
Mm-hmm.
And defensively, I think Wade was better.
Then Bryant.
Yeah. I
Mm,
think I think the best shot blocking him and Jordan do whatever you want. Best shot blocking
right.
guard ever. I
Right.
think he was elite as a on rotations, being a low man, as a rim protector, as a low man on help, passing lanes, defense awareness, defense IQ.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the clutch, both of them in the clutch. That's a
Mm-hmm.
watch for me too.
So Wade was just as good in the clutch as Kobe Bryant, if not better, in your
I think.
in your idea. Well, so let's discuss Bryant. Let's discuss Bryant. I can get with you on the efficiency logic. I can definitely get even though I'm not a huge fan of that logic, I can get with you on the efficiency
I don't.
because that's a to be quite honest with you, I feel like that's an IQ thing. If you
Yeah.
shooting with three guys on you
Yeah.
instead of getting and you if you shooting with three guys on you
Hitting the
and
wide
you're not
open
getting
guy.
off the and you got somebody wide open and you're not getting off the peel, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I can get with the efficiency logic. However, if you look at the crew he was on, same with Dwayne Wade, if you look at the crew he was on, he was carrying that crew. In the process of him carrying that crew, he was also doing that same thing defensively too with them.
You talking about
Now,
with the team with Powell?
no. I'm talking about before Pau
Well,
Gasol got on the
well,
before Gasol got on the court.
that's probably what we need to do. Which when you think Kobe was at his best?
I think, but see, a lot of people will say 06, 07. I
I
don't
say,
think he was. I don't. I think the best version of Bryant was 01, 02,
uh,
03, 04. That's the best version.
I,
That 35 a game guy, that was just a bucket getter. I
yeah, he
already knew
had
he
free
was a
reign.
defender.
He had free reign to do whatever he wanted to. Yeah,
I already knew he was a defender. That wasn't news to me. So when 06, when he made the all-league defensive team, just like in 07 when he made the all-league defensive team, which you could make a case that
he probably
you could make
realized.
a case you could make a case that there was some people that maybe were better because Bryant was a little
On the
tricky off the
back.
basketball. Yeah, he was a little tricky off the basketball, but as a one-on-one defender on the ball, I don't think that there was anybody at his, but he was better than Dwayne Wade at that. On the
I think
block, when we're talking about on
he
the
was
box,
versatile.
when we're talking about on the box, he was a better defender on the block. Off the ball, it was a little tricky. I think Bryant was a better transition defender.
Oh
In
yeah, I
addition,
get it. I get it.
in addition to him being a better transition defender, offensively, I don't think that there was much that we can make a case for Dwayne Wade. I think Bryant was better on the block. I think he was better in the mid range. I think he was better one-on-one. I think he was better on the three ball. He was definitely better in transition. I think he was better at the rim. All of those
Transition?
things. Oh my God, Bryant was as
Wade in
good as Wade
transition?
was, as good as Wade was in transition. Bryant in transition, stop and pop, getting to the basket. I think you just looking at Flash just being fast.
No,
I'm looking at quality of
I'm
shots.
talking.
Just because you in transition does not mean you have to dart to the basket.
Oh no,
No, that's
I'm
not
saying,
that's
I'm
not what
saying, I'm saying, putting him on the wings, like running on the wings, him coming down the with the ball as a decision maker, or just taking it for himself. Like,
right.
yeah,
You do know, Don, that when Bryant retired, he was numero uno all time in assists for shooting guards. I don't know if you know that, but
I said career wise, he got that's a
yeah.
career thing.
But I'm going off of I'm going off of what he was during during his best year. During his best years, I don't think that there was any a time. And the example that I give, and people who know me have heard this. I equate these two guys to Jordan and Drexler. Outside of Michael Jordan, line up anybody else, Drex kicked their ass. Only except Drex was never 23 good. I don't think he was ever 23 good. With that being said, as good as Wade was in transition, as a defender, in the clutch, he was never 24 good.
I think that comparison you just said, I think a better comparison would be Dame and Steph.
No, there was never a time when Dame was ever better than Steph Curry.
I'm saying, like you said, like the Jordan Drexler. I think Steph is the Jordan and Dame is the Drexler.
That may be the case, but what I'm saying, O'Don, is I'm thinking about as a playoff performer, when your game drops in the playoffs, or not necessarily drops in the playoffs, if your game is awesome in the playoffs, I can't talk about you like I talk about the all-time greats if your game isn't awesome in the regular season too. That matters. That's where the legend is created. And then the legend is created in the regular season. He's elevated in the playoffs. That's why we talk about the dudes like James, Jordan, Jabbar. That's why we talk about them dudes like we talk about them. Because as good as they were in the regular season, that's why they were all pros. That's why they were all league defenders. And when we got to the postseason, that game got elevated. Or you at least saw something similar to that. You didn't see this. It didn't go this way when they were at their best.
Yeah, the best the greatest you got to do it consistently, year in, year out, regular season, postseason, FIBA Olympics.
That's why I have a difficult time with the Kawhi Leonard logic, because I'm a big Kawhi Leonard fan. But when I think about longevity and I think about getting it done for a long period of time, I can get with you when you're giving me 6 elite seasons.
Yeah, I would.
That's it. That's all. And don't get me wrong, I can appreciate you winning NBA championships, and we could put some context to that.
Yeah, the first one ain't really like
right. He wasn't the best player on the championship team.
They were an elite
defensive team, and they outplayed that. That was some of the most beautiful basketball I ever seen from that San Antonio Spurs team, no doubt. Then he gets on a 59-win team in Toronto. He does his job. I won't argue that.
He put him over the top.
Yeah, he does. He was the difference in what they were doing. 100%. He was the difference in what they were doing. But with that being said, there has to be that longevity. Like to I just have a difficult time with you only being like 5 or 6 years where you were elite. Yeah. I can't talk about you like I talk about the other dudes, even if you were to win an NBA championship. But it gets tricky because
you measure the body of work up. It's like, wow, like you did this.
Well, Don, what happens if they win an NBA championship and he wins the Finals MVP for the third time? Like, wait a minute, like, damn.
Yeah, it crazy. Cause it's
like now you're throwing a monkey wrench in what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah, it like cause like I'm measuring you up. You only got 6, 7 elite years, but
5 or 6.
Yeah.
I'm giving you 6 years, but it's probably 5 tops. But in them 5, 6 years, I mean, to win the NBA championship 3 times, if they win it this year and win the Finals MVP 3 times in 13 years,
and it's sad too, because in 21 his playoff run was looking like it was gonna be the best one he had before he got hurt.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Don. You know I'm a James guy. I wanted nothing to do with Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs in 20. I didn't. I hated that matchup with the Clippers.
I thought they were gonna get him.
I was thinking somebody get rid of these dudes, because if they got to see the Clippers, I think the Clippers are going to beat them.
You thinking because of the matchups in the regular season?
I didn't like that at all, B. I was like, somebody got to get rid of these dudes, because I don't like this matchup at all. I don't.
I'm telling you what my thinking was that whole year. I was like, okay, because you remember the Lakers. I got out ahead of the curve really. I used to tell my uncle all the time. He used to be a big Doc Rivers guy. I was like, man, uncle, I just like, I'm sorry. I like Doc. I think Doc a great coach. I don't think he's as good as everybody. Top 15 coach of all time. You might be putting a little on it for me. But I remember telling my uncle that I'm like, and then Paul George, he kind of shaky in the playoffs too. You never know what you kind of gonna get with him. He got some good moments though, but
Mhm.
you ain't never sure what you gonna get with him.
Yeah,
So I was
I
like,
can dig it. I
the
can dig that. I can get with that. I can get with that logic. Sure. Hey Don, I gotta go, brother. Good to talk to you, my man.
all right, good talk, good talk.
Absolutely. I have a difficult time with that. What up?
Hey, salute Chilltown.
What up?
Hey man, what up? Hey, so like I think that I have one question to you specifically. So what in your eyes is more valuable? Uh elite regular season player that drop off or a normal regular season player that rise up routinely in the playoff? Which is more valuable to you?
I think that both. I think that the regular season and the postseason both matter the same. I think that whatever you do in the regular season, it can't drop in the postseason. You have to bring at least what you've been doing in the regular season at minimum. So if I'm a 25 a game guy, I got to be at least a 25 a game guy in the postseason at minimum. I can't be a 25 a game guy and then we get to the postseason and that 25, 11, and 6 goes to 21, 8,
On
and
horrible
4.
shooting split.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
that can't happen. That can't happen. Just like I can't be a 17 or 18 a game guy, and then I get to the postseason, and that 17 turns into 24 or 26. No, because what that's telling me is that you don't bring it every night. You pick and choose when you're going to play, and the greats don't do that. No, that
There
doesn't
is
happen.
one thing that I hear. You familiar with Bill Simmons?
I am, yes.
He wrote book of basketball and he ranked Bill Walton ahead of David Robinson in his all-time ranking. His idea was that as much as how good David Robinson was, yeah, this thing, as much how good David Robinson was, he will fall off in the playoff no matter what he do. And Bill Walton was routine in his one run guarantees you championship. So essentially it's peak versus longevity type of conversation. Like I would argue that Kawhi Leonard in his peak was better than Scottie Pippen. I could, in my opinion, you don't have to agree with that. But so I
Hold on.
think that
Wait. Rewind. Who was better than Scottie Pippen? So I just want to make sure.
Kawhi Leonard in his best season, in my
Okay.
opinion, was better than Scottie Pippen. And I would take Kawhi sixth season more than Pippen eighth season, in my opinion. Like Pippen have eight-ish elite season from 90 to 98, and Kawhi have like six season of his. So I would personally take Kawhi in that scenario, something like that. And
Right.
there are many all-time great who don't have like I just think that Kawhi is all-time great. I just wanna say that
I do. I
personally.
do too, Killer. Whoa. I want to make sure that we're clear that you have no disagreement with me when Kawhi Leonard being an all-time great. But I don't want to overrate him. But I don't want to cut you off. Keep going.
I mean that, and it's not just Kawhi. In my opinion, there are many all-time great who are like that. Like what the hell that Hawks '60s guy name was,
Bill,
who won the
Bob Pettit.
championship?
Bob Pettit.
Bob Pettit.
Mhm.
Bob Pettit also did not play for a very long time, and and a lot of guys did not play a lot for a lot of long time. But when they play, they was absurdly elite. So we don't kind of have a way to distinguish between them. Kawhi in particular is weird one. Now let me get this Jimmy Butler fraudulence. Like Jimmy Butler tricked everyone, tricked entire masses, in my opinion. Like
Uh-huh.
Jimmy Butler before 2020, how many time 2020 final did we ever hear playoff Jimmy before?
No. Mm-mm.
We did not hear that.
No.
And
He was
when
on
did
it.
it come back?
Don't forget, he was on the Bulls in I believe it was in 18 when they lost
He
either
was
17 or
all
18.
NBA player guy who
Yeah,
was
he was on.
like, let me tell you what he was. He was like elite wing defender who could give you 15 to 16 point. That was expectation of him, and that's what he was known for. He was like intangible guy who will bring who will make your team win. He was known as that guy. He was never known as superstar before that. Like
Mm.
before 2020 final, he was never known as that. And he fall off again in 2021,
When
and
they
he
got
get
swept.
back down to the earth. And
Well,
and then
the logic
when
on him during that time in 2021 was that he was hurt. It was
he
the
was hurt,
season was shortened. The
and
season got
and
started.
and
He was
we did
hurt.
not hear about playoff Jimmy again till Game 6 of 2022 Eastern Conference Final. We did not hear about that.
I
Like
thought that
it's
he
essential.
was. I thought that he was good in the playoffs in 2022. I did. I thought he
He
was
was
good in the playoffs.
good. He was
Yeah.
good, but not some playoff legend that we make him out to be. Like it's like, and again, let's go back to last year. His quote unquote magnum opus moment led the Bucks, but
Mhm.
after that, come down to earth again
Yeah, against
against
the Knicks, he was
Knicks.
not very good. He was not very good against the Knicks. No, he wasn't.
You could make argument that Caleb Martin deserved that Eastern Conference final.
I thought he was the Eastern
You could
Conference
argue,
Finals MVP. I did. I did. I thought he was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Jimmy Butler was
and
not great against the Knicks. No, he wasn't. And the logic
no,
would
he
be, well,
wasn't.
the logic will be he was hurt. Well, you don't say the same thing for Giannis when they lost to the Milwaukee.
We did.
I
But
don't
yeah,
mean I don't mean
essentially,
you
but
specifically. I don't mean you specifically, but there are people who will say, well, he was hurt against the Knicks. He was hurt against the Knicks, but they won. That was largely due to a whole bunch of other guys. I mean, Kevin Love played good that series. They all played good. Caleb Martin played good that series. It was a bunch of guys that played good that series. But the difference is that they won. If they lost, we wouldn't be talking about Jimmy Butler like that. We would not be.
essentially, my question to you is this: like final top in the final question, Reggie Miller or James Harden? Who do you think rank higher all time? Miller elevated his game routinely against Knicks, against Orlando. He has his couple of bad moments, I will admit that, but
Mhm.
he is a guy who not only was good in 1992, he was good in 2001 against Philadelphia. He ball out in that series
He
in
was good.
2001
He
against
was good getting them. He was good in getting them to the finals too. He was good. He was fantastic in 2000 in the playoffs, getting them to the finals also. I think James
he
Harden was
routine.
better at basketball. I think he was more skilled at basketball. But I think what Reggie Miller did in the postseason, even though his game didn't drop much in the postseason, it didn't. He did not fall off in the postseason. His game, where he was in the regular season, it almost mirrored what it did in the postseason. Some series he went this way, but he never did this when he was in his
James
prime.
Harden.
I don't remember Reggie Miller doing this in the postseason. I do
So
remember him being at least where he was in the regular season. I do remember that.
so you who do you rank higher? You rank James Harden higher or Reggie Miller higher?
I think I got Reggie Miller as a top 5 shooting guard all time.
So I think so. Your thinking process is you would take a playoff riser than a normal guy who is average on regular season but rise
No,
up in the
no,
playoff.
no, no, no. I'm not saying that at all because Reggie Miller was elite in the
All
regular
star
season.
caliber player, let's
Yes,
just say.
Reggie Miller was elite in the regular season, and in addition to him being elite in the regular season, that went this way in the postseason. So no,
Like
I'm not.
we
I'm not
used to
going.
have argument about we used to have argument that who is greatest shooter of all time, Ray Allen or Reggie Miller before Steph show up. We used to have that argument.
I think it's
That
Ray
was the
Allen.
argument.
That's another conversation for another day. But
That's another
hey, Killer,
conversation.
yep,
Hey,
I gotta go, brother. But it's good to talk to you. I
hey, hey, hey,
appreciate
hey,
you.
man. All the
Yep,
best to your 49ers, man.
we're gonna need it. Against Patrick Mahomes, we're gonna need it. I tell you, boy. All right, my man. What up? Yo,
Hello.
what up?
Chill. Do you think that there are some people who still end up having an all-time great career, even though they weren't very good playoff performers?
Who though?
Tracy McGrady,
No,
not
no,
an all-time great.
no,
Really?
no. Mm-mm. Even though I think Tracy McGrady is like third all time in the history of in the history of the NBA in points per game. I think when he retired, he was like top 3 or something like that, top 5 in points per game all time in the playoffs. But no, no. And the reason why is because number one, his teams were good enough to advance. That Rockets team was good enough to get out of the first round when they lost to Utah. They were definitely good enough. That Orlando Magic team was good enough to beat that Detroit team in 2003. They were good enough to do that, and
all his teams were good enough to get out of the first round. If you're being honest,
they were good enough to do that, and because they didn't, it was off the strength of him. If I can get my team to a 3-1 lead, I can end it. I should be able to end it. If I could get us to 3-1, the series is over. Because the all-time greats, I'm trying to imagine Bird being up 3-1. If Bird is up 3-1, this series is over. If Magic is up 3-1, this series is over. We're not going back.
He shouldn't have opened his mouth against when he was talking about Detroit. If he had just kept his mouth shut, he probably would have just won that.
Well, I don't think that it was a problem that he said that, because he was right. They had him handled. They had them handled.
Extra fuel for the fire, Chill, and that's all he did.
They had them handled. I gotta don't get me wrong. I got a problem. I have a problem with ranking guys who continuously fell off in the playoffs. I got a problem with that. And you've never been out of the first round ever.
So guys who don't succeed in the postseason, like win championships and stuff.
Oh, you don't have to go that far. Because first of all, winning the NBA championship, it's not just being good. You need a lot of stuff to go your way. A lot. It's not just, we just better than everybody else. No, it's a little bit more than that.
Right. What was that Lakers player that was like averaging almost 40 and 20 like back in like the 70s? Like, what was his name?
In the 60s, that was Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor, right. So Elgin Baylor would be an all-time great, even though he never managed to, get a championship.
Now, remember, Elgin Baylor, he got the Lakers to the NBA Finals. It's not like Elgin Baylor is getting bounced in round one. Don't get me wrong. There was lesser playoff series during that time, but he is getting these guys off the strength of him and Jerry
deep
West.
Postseason runs.
They're making deep postseason runs. When you can't get out of the first round of the playoffs your entire career, that's not solely on, look at the teams that I had. Oh, man. No, I'm not buying it.
So same logic with Blake Griffin, like not an all-time, couldn't get out of the second round. It's like same thing with Blake Griffin.
If you're going past the first round and you getting, because again, when you're getting deep into the playoffs, you're dealing with different animals. You're dealing with different schemes. You're dealing with different philosophies. You're dealing with different teams. I can get with that logic. To never get out of the first round, ever? No, I can't get with that.
So so it would be like getting out of the first round. But Chill, what do you think is more valuable? A guy that he's okay, he's pretty good in the regular season, but just amps it up to 11 in the postseason, or someone that's just good, someone that's really good in the regular season, but just okay in the postseason?
Nope. Both of those things have to coincide. Once again, you have the regular season is where the legend is created. The postseason is where the legend is elevated. When you get to the postseason, I have to, at minimum, do what I was doing in the regular season. At minimum, I have to do that. If I go into the postseason, a prime example would be Julius Randle. Julius Randle last year was 24-10. That 24-10 dropped to 17 a game. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. If he's 24-10 in the regular season, when we get to the postseason, at minimum, I should get that. I should get that at minimum. I should get 23, 24 a game, 8 to 10 rebounds. At minimum, I should get that from him. If it's doing this and he's completely and utterly ineffective, which is what I've seen from Julius Randle in the playoffs, I can't talk about him like I talk about the other all-time greats. So what do I value more? I value a guy who in the playoffs, it doesn't do this. I value a guy who in the playoffs, it's like at least like this. And if it if it rises, then bet. But it can't do this. No.
So what about somebody like Joel Embiid, who hasn't been able to get out of the second round?
And why is that?
Injuries. And he hasn't been able to. And he hasn't been able to perform.
And because of that, I can't talk about you like I talk about Olajuwon because he was there. I can't talk about you like I talk about Ewing because he was there. I can't talk about you like I talk about Jabbar. I can't talk about you like I talk about all the all-time great bigs because they were there at minimum. So forget your game. At minimum, they were there. Now when they're there, their game doesn't fall off. Joel Embiid's game actually falls off in the postseason.
So you would value somebody like, for example, Rondo, who was pretty good he was very good in the regular season, but just like in the postseason, he just like ramped it up to 11 like that. So somebody like that would be very valuable to, somebody like, like you would value a player like that, right?
If I'm looking at a guy like Rondo, his playoffs, it doesn't drop. And in the regular season, he's an all-star. When we get to the postseason, he's at least playing at an all-star level. He doesn't go in the tank like that. No. That's what I care about when I think about all-time greats playing in the postseason. In the regular season, I'm here. In the postseason, I am at least here. At minimum, I'm here. So,
well, I got one question for you, Chill. Out of all the bowl games that you have managed to watch, like what was the most entertaining one that you watched?
When we stopped San Diego in '94, in January '95, we beat. It's a record to this day in the Super Bowl. No team has scored that many points. I think we scored 49 points for the game. Stomped San Diego. I loved every minute of that.
Really? So
absolutely.
Who was who played in that roster?
The 49ers, it was Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Ricky Waters. Let's see. Our defense was fantastic. Why is that name? My cornerback. I'm trying, not Deion Sanders. I ain't even talking about him because Deion Sanders was on the crew. I'm thinking about my other cornerback. I don't know why the name escapes me right now, but yeah, that was my most entertaining one of all of the ones that I had seen.
That's pretty fortunate. I didn't get to see all those Super Bowls from like the past that were like extremely entertaining. Like I would have paid a lot of money to see like the 2007 Super Bowl,
even though I
lost.
Cowboy, because we beat the Cowboys that year in the NFC Championship. We had lost them the year before that, so that was the
you guys sent you the 49er fans and the Cowboy fans. They got a big time rivalry. They just don't like each other at all.
Yep.
Is that why you think they're also the worst fan base like out of all sports? Is that why?
They think they own the world. So I'm good on the Cowboy fans. I'm straight. So.
Well, all right, Chill. You have a good one.
Yep, absolutely. What up?
What up?
What up?
Obviously, I'm not watching. Well, I'm watching the game, but I'm not watching the game. The game is watching me. Whatever shit show. Don't even turn it on. Don't turn it on. Don't turn it on.
I'm actually gonna turn the Minnesota game on. I was.
Yeah, do that. Don't do not turn on TNT. You don't want to see that.
I actually wanted to watch.
Yeah, but it's interesting topic you got up here. Regular season, the playoff performance, and I laugh because I'm not the most objective person at all when it comes to this. So Chris Paul, I beat the shit out of him every chance I get. His little dirty ass. When it comes to regular season to playoff performance, Jimmy Butler name comes up. Obviously, you said Julius Randle. You know what the crazy thing about Julius Randle is, bro? Like it was surprising to me when he started averaging the numbers that he was averaging a couple of seasons ago on the Knicks when he had that 24, 5, and 10 season. Everybody was shocked. We automatically said, "Well, he ain't doing this shit in the playoffs," so we was right. But in the case of Kawhi. Now I understand what you're saying, but in the case of Kawhi, I think we have to recognize that he has legitimate all-time runs in the postseason and in the regular season. You look at them last couple of years in San Antonio, top was it? Top 3 twice and top 5 twice in defensive player of the year and MVP voting.
So he won the defensive player of the year in 15 and 16.
2 years in a row. He finished like top 5 in them 2 years. MVP.
I think it's 17. Draymond won it. I think he finished second to Draymond that year in 17.
So that's 3 years of him finishing top 5, which you always tell me top 5 in DPOY and MVP voting on elite territory. So that's 3 years right off the rip. Then you got the 2019 year, which is an all-time one of the best playoff runs we've ever seen. Then you got 21. He was on his way all the way up to the Utah injury. He was on his way to another 60, 50, and 80 or whatever the hell it was splits. So my thing is, I move Kawhi away from the Bill Waltons,
right,
the Willis Reeds,
Okay.
who else? Who's another? I move him. How long was Havlicek the guy for? How long was Havlicek the guy? How long did Havlicek? How long was Havlicek the guy, the go-to guy for that Celtics team in the 70s?
7 years, like 7 years.
Over Cowens?
Mm-hmm. He was the
Because
finals,
I know Cowens had some years.
right? Cowens did have some years.
Cowens was
I believe Cowens won the Finals MVP, and I think it was 74.
74.
Either 70. JoJo English won it in 76.
No, JoJo White. It was JoJo White.
JoJo White. Not JoJo.
Right,
English.
so JoJo White won it in 76.
White. Mm-hmm.
74.
Cowens won it in 74. Mm-hmm.
So
74.
So if we realistically being real about Havlicek, don't get me wrong, his resume is legitimate, but I'm talking about him as the guy. Havlicek as the guy, like this is like he had how many years? Like 5 years?
No, it was longer than that. It was definitely longer than that. He averaged 25 a game for like 8 or 9 years. Yes.
I mean, but as the guy though, like
right, as the man. He was
them Celtics teams was
first and foremost, let's rewind to Dave Cowens winning the Finals MVP. I mean, let's be honest. Iguodala won the Finals MVP. Cowens was the dirty work guy on that crew. He was the rebounder.
Cowens won league MVP too.
He was the bucket getter. He did win it. I don't think he won it that year though. I don't think he won it that year. I don't think he won it in South. I'll find out right now. I don't think he won it in.
Yeah, do that because I'm looking at. The reason why I'm bringing this up, Chill, is because when we go back to after that 2014 Finals MVP, when we go back to that, every year. What was that?
He won it in 73. That was in year 2.
He was second year in the league, and then he won Finals MVP the year after.
Year
so
3, I'm sorry, year 3. He won it in 73.
So it's safe to say that Dave Cowens may have been the head honcho of that team.
And he won the Finals MVP. He was the league MVP in 73.
And
he won the league MVP in 73.
Right.
No, he didn't win the Finals MVP. I think that was Havlicek.
I think Havlicek did.
I'm pretty confident John Havlicek won the Finals MVP.
So Joe
in 74.
And Havlicek.
He was the dirty. Havlicek was the dirty work guy. Yeah, Havlicek won the Finals MVP in 74. He was the dirty work guy. Dave Cowens was. Havlicek was the bucket getter on that group. Yes. Havlicek was the man.
All right. So they basically had a 3-headed monster with JoJo White, Havlicek, and Dave Cowens, basically. So they had somewhat of a big three. So it was in them years, any one of them could win MVP, Finals MVP, something like that. All right. So I'm like, so the thing is, that's null and void. What I'm speaking on is that Kawhi, after that 2014 Finals, it's safe to say that the Spurs, that the Spurs guy with Duncan and Tony Parker and Ginobili in their 30s on their last leg, it's safe to say that Kawhi was the guy from then on in.
From
15 all the way to the injury and all the way to
in 18.
In 18. He didn't play in 18.
So 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17. So we got a 3-year stretch where he's the man in San Antonio.
Yes.
3 years. Okay.
3 years.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play in 18 because he got the knee injury.
Right. Then he go to Toronto.
18, 19.
19. And then he go to then to go to Clippers.
In 20. Mm-hmm. He's
21.
That season. Mm-hmm. He got hurt that year.
Right. And in the playoffs, and now we fast forward to this year. So that's like a good. So what we looking at? 7 years? 7, 8 years?
6. So 3 years. So 3 years in San Antonio.
Right.
Plus 3 years in San Antonio. Plus
Toronto.
Yep. That's Toronto. Plus Toronto. That's 4 years. In 2020 in the bubble. Mm-hmm. 2020 in the bubble. 21 he gets hurt. 21 he gets hurt, and then this year we still got to see what happens.
Okay, all right, fine.
We still got to see what happens if he holds up.
So but in them years, you got top-notch defense and on offense. This is the guy that is top 5 in league MVP votes in defensive player of the year 2 out of 3 years. 2 out of them 3 years on the Spurs. Then you go to Toronto, you got an all-time great playoff run. That's up there probably with one of Jordan's runs. That's up there probably with Dirk run. Who else? Is there anybody run I'm forgetting? That guy could probably compare to?
James. All
LeBron
of those
and
guys.
yeah. So but that run is elite. So then you got 21, what was about to happen, what you always talk about. So my thing is, it's a lot of guys. I'm not saying, listen, if you don't want to put them in your top 25 for the injuries, I understand that. But the thing is, we have to acknowledge these runs that he has had, even with the limited time that he's been on court. You always tell me the average NBA career is 5 years. He didn't give you like 4 years. He didn't give you at least 6 where it was all time, where it was about to be all-time great seasons.
I'm counting 6 elite seasons. I'm counting 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm counting 19, 20. And I'm counting 2021, but it got cut short because he got hurt.
Right.
And then after that, this is where we are now in 22, 20, and 23, 24, and we barely halfway through the season. I'm not counting this season yet.
Right.
I'm not counting this season yet. But as of right now, I got 6 elite seasons from Kawhi Leonard. 6 of them in 13 years.
Right.
That's all I got. I got 6 elite seasons.
I want to add one more thing. I know we done joked the hell of shit, bro, about the championship. You told me about the weak ass Celtics. I don't hear about them, but the Clippers. Only reason I brought it up because you brought it up first. You was like, "What if they win this?" I think, me personally, for Kawhi to win another Finals MVP on 3 different teams.
It's so tricky if he does.
No. I think it's more of those like feats that, like, okay, you could put him in a category. Obviously, it's hard to put him in any top 15 conversation. It's hard to put him in that. But like just off the strength, I understand.
Not right there, Leaf. If they win the NBA championship and he wins the Finals MVP, there's going to be top 10 talk. I'm telling you right now. That's yes.
I know that
right now, Leaf. You don't want to hear this. I'm telling you right now. There's going to be top 10 talk with this.
But between me and you, and the way and the people that you talk basketball with, remind you got LeBron. Your crazy ass got LeBron at 1. You was probably sitting at you was probably one of the few people at the age that you are right now, in June of 1998, sitting there after Jordan hit the shot, like, hey man, I guess he got it, man. But at the same time, waiting fast forward 20 years later, okay, oh yeah, he better than him. But we all know that ain't true. But it is opinionated. But it's, at the same time, I'm separating the casual talk from what we know, what me and you know, what the people that you conversate with every day know. We know good and damn well Kawhi ain't gonna get no damn top 10. We know that, but it's the media. This is why this shit is. This is why it's made up. It's like Scooby Doo. Come on, bro. Like it's like Mama Goose.
But when you hear something 200-300 times,
I like Kawhi.
When you hear this 200-300 times, Leaf, what starts to happen is it starts to seep in, and then you hear it enough. Am I tripping? Is this dude really? I'm not buying into that logic. I'm not going to let people suck me into that. I'm not trying to hear that.
I understand that.
You hear it enough times, you start thinking, yo, am I bugging? Should this dude be a top 10 player? And then I come back to reality like, yo, what are we talking about? Yo, the dude played at an MVP level for how many years? The dude has how many all-league performances? How many all the that stuff matters.
With the way that you vote, you got Kobe in 11th, and he is the all-time leader in guards.
He is not better. He is not better than Bryant. No way does he jump Bryant. No way. And nobody comes out.
Because Kobe is your gatekeeper Kobe is your gatekeeper for everybody in this era, for the Currys, for the KDs, for all them other goofies, bro, that you don't want to put up ahead of him. That's what he is, and I understand it, but it don't make no sense to me why LeBron is that far ahead of Kobe to me. That just don't make no sense. That's just to me. And I don't know when LeBron passed Kobe, to me personally. But my thing is what Kawhi is, bro. Like, I understand 3 championships on three Finals MVPs on 3 different teams is a feat. It's a feat. That's all it is. That's all. Like we keep it as a feat. Then he
No,
comes.
Leaf, it's not that simple. Do you understand that feats become no, Leaf, it's not that simple. Feats become narratives. Narratives become logic, which is nonsense.
Now
That's
this
what
is
happens.
bullshit. What they
Right,
always
exactly. Feats become narratives. Narratives become logic. And logic now becomes the norm. And because if you hear it enough times, you start thinking, well, wait a minute, is he this? No, he's not. No, he is
Because you
not.
got all these goofies on the internet that's gonna try to forward them in there, but just because the old heads, they don't have enough intel on them. That's why, bro. And it's the same thing with everybody do with Kareem and all of these other guys that played in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and whatever. They don't reward them. I guarantee you, if somebody win 8 straight championships today and they don't make but 2 or 3 all NBA teams, they're gonna try to put them in there and they're gonna forget about Bill Russell. That's what's gonna happen. But me and you know the truth.
Right. Good luck with
We
that.
know the truth.
I'm good with that. So
And another truth we know, them Swifties gonna get in your ass. So don't even try nothing. Y'all just like the Cowboys. Y'all last Super Bowl was in 1995. Get out of here.
we beat y'all though.
We gonna beat us for what?
We beat y'all though. We beat y'all. That's all that matters. We beat y'all. So what up? What up, God?
Peace. What's good, Chilltown? What's good, brother? Man, listen, bro. I don't know how you deal with it. This is the casual talk of all casual talks, right? This is what allows casuals to talk about basketball when they want to talk about playoff risers and playoff droppers, right? Now, let me tell you something. But I listened to you and the brother just speak. You know, if you take Kawhi Leonard's total points and Vince Carter's total points, they don't add up to LeBron James' total points.
They ain't even close. Nope. So both of y'all and Vince actually played long. Vince actually played around the same amount of years. He played longer than James. Matter of fact.
Yes, he has the most seasons logged in out of any player in NBA history. If you take Kawhi Leonard's total points scored in his career with Vince Carter's, it still doesn't add up to the 39,000 plus GOAT James has put up.
Nope. Sorry, brother. Nope.
So there's no way Kawhi Leonard's ever near that level. This is what they do. This is how they do it.
He's not, yo. I think he's like 15,000 points. And don't get me wrong. Bill Russell is like Bill Russell retired at like 16 or 15,000 points also. But I mean, if we talking numbers, go, and this is my gatekeeper logic when it comes to Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Russell, like the talking point for everybody is championships. So what's the logic on a dude who won the NBA championship 8 straight years? In 4 years, in those 8 straight years, he went 20-20. There is no logic. And the reason why is because Chamberlain is the only other guy to go 20-20 in the playoffs. He's the only other dude to do it. Bill Russell did it 4 straight years, 20-20. And this was in the middle of going 8 straight championships. If you got a dude that's running around in the NBA today and they're on a three-peat, and in the process of them being in a three-peat, and he's 30-15, how are we talking about him? We're talking about him like an all-time great. Well, Bill Russell, in the midst of 8 straight championships, which some people will try to sell the logic, well, it was a lot easier to get to the NBA Finals because you only had to go through one team. Even if that's true, right? Even if that's true, I still got to the finals, and I still had to go up against the best team in the league. I still had to do that. And in the process of him doing that, he dominated every time.
And he's a playoff riser. What they call a playoff riser, that's exactly what Bill Russell was.
That's what I'm talking about, Go. 20-20 in the playoffs.
Listen. I wanted to ask you this because this is the conversation of tonight's program, right? So let's do this. All right. Who has the better perception? Jamal Murray and Jimmy Butler, or Joel Embiid and who's the other guy? And James Harden. Because Joel Embiid and James Harden are considered playoff droppers, right?
Correct.
Jimmy Butler and Jamal Murray are considered playoff risers,
Correct.
right? So what is the better perception to have as a player? Would you rather be someone as dominant as Joel Embiid and Harden has throughout the regular seasons, but slip up here and there throughout the playoffs, or be like Jamal Murray and Jimmy Butler, don't really dominate the regular season, but have a couple of good games in the playoffs here and there that people remember? Because they don't remember the bad. They don't remember the bad playoff series. They don't remember how Jimmy played against Denver last year in the finals.
No, they don't.
Did against Boston.
They don't remember how Kawhi Leonard ate his lunch against Philly in 2019. They don't remember that. They don't talk about that. when he didn't do much in that series. When Leonard averaged almost 35 and 8 in that series. They don't talk about that. That's not important.
Exactly. So they
No.
do the same thing with Kawhi Leonard. What happened in 2022? Kawhi Leonard wasn't hurt in 2022.
Yeah, he was.
Why?
He was out for the season because he tore his knee up in 21 in the playoffs. He was out in 2022.
But he was there for the playoffs, correct?
No,
We're talking about playoffs.
He was out. He was out for the whole season in 21-22.
All of 20.
Yeah,
okay.
he tore his knee up in 21 in the playoffs when they against Utah. He tore his knee up, and he was out the whole 21-22 season. And then he came back last year.
Okay, but then you also mentioned, right, that no superstar lets a 3-1 lead go. But didn't Kawhi do that in 2020?
He did do that. He did do that.
Now,
Kobe
granted,
did it too. Kobe did it too.
Kobe did it too. Listen, now, granted, these are the narratives they love to throw out on players when they want to hate on them. But when the players they want to praise have these same thing on their resume, somehow we have to use context, right? It's supposed to be.
Well, wait a minute. That's not the same thing. No, hold on. That's not the same thing. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Now, what makes Kawhi Leonard great, which is what we always tell people when you go to the stats, accolades, and achievements, Kawhi Leonard does have, I believe, 7 or 8 all-defensive selections, which is like top 20 or top 15 in NBA history. He also has like 4 or 5 all-NBA selections. So that lets you know for at least a good 5-year stretch, he was a great player.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm trying to say? And obviously, he has his injury issues or whatever. He's been in the league, 12, 13 years. You know what I mean?
Showed up in 11.
Okay, yeah. So again, he's going to be a great player. I don't know if he could crack the top 25 because, like the brother just said before, if we're talking about the annals of history, oh man, there's some great players. There's a lot of players that he would have. It's not even Kobe. We're not even talking about Kobe. Kobe's the gatekeeper for top 10.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, the gatekeeper for top 30 is John Stockton. Are you better than John Stockton?
That's putting a lot on it right there, B. That's putting a lot on it right there. Or Scottie Pippen. Absolutely.
Or Scottie Pippen. You have to be better than Scottie Pippen to be top 20 or Moses Malone.
Yeah. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. And when I think about like you just mentioned, Kawhi Leonard being I think he's a 7-time all-league defender. So we clear, Scottie Pippen has more first-team all-league defender nods than Kawhi Leonard has all-league defender nods.
Facts.
I just want to put that out there. So I've been an all-NBA performer, first team, more than you've been an all-NBA, all-league defender. I've been that more than you. So we can't have that conversation. And as far as you being the defensive player of the year, and I've gone over this countless times, as far as you being the defensive player of the year, you're going up against Draymond Green and Hassan Whiteside and DeAndre Jordan to win the defensive player of the year. I'm coming in second to Dennis Rodman and Olajuwon and Mutombo. These are the guys that I'm battling. David Robinson to win the defensive player of the year. These are the guys that I'm going up against. Plus, I'm playing at that level every year. Every year I'm playing at that level, and I'm more durable. So when I think about the regular season and the playoffs, I feel like your game, it can't fall off in the playoffs. If you are awesome in the regular season, you have to at least match that in the playoffs. So Luka, for example, Luka is 35-10 right now. When we get to the playoffs, Luka can't go to 28. That can't happen. No, that can't happen. Even though he shouldn't have to score 40 in order for them to win. But this is where we are with him now. This is where we are.
Yeah, see, but this is where the conversation gets deep, right? Because what if I told you there was a player averaging 35 for the regular season, and he ended up giving you 27 points per game and shooting less than 50%, although he was shooting 53 for the season? They're gonna tell you, oh, that player's a choker, until I tell them it's Michael Jordan.
You know who that dude is? That's the dude that was in Chicago. Just so y'all know, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but that's who that dude was. I don't know if you want to talk about that. So
you see what I'm saying? So this is why I say it's casual talk. Because if you're an NBA fan, you appreciate what they do during the regular season, which is actually kind of tougher. Because again, this is grueling. Flying into cities, playing a game. You know what I'm saying? Getting prepared to play a game. Next to tomorrow, I'm playing another coach, another scheme, another set of players. Everything changes. You see what I'm saying? You get comfortable in the play.
I want to hold you up real quick. Green, I got a question for you, Green. So was Rudy Gobert a better defender than David Robinson? That's a yes or no question.
Ooh. You asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. Is Rudy Gobert a better defender than David Robinson?
All time? That's very close. David Robinson's hard, but I'm gonna give the nod to David Robinson because career-wise, he's proven it. You know, Bear's there, but he's not there yet.
How about Olajuwon?
No, he's not better than Olajuwon.
Okay, so how about Tony Allen? When I think about Tony Allen, is Tony Allen a better defender than Gary Payton?
Oh no,
Okay,
Gary Payton.
so Tony Allen isn't a better defender than Gary Payton. How about Draymond Green? Is Draymond Green a better defender than, I don't know, Scottie Pippen?
Definitely not. No.
Definitely not. No, he's not a better defender. How about let's see, Paul George? Is Paul George a better? Is he a better defensive player than, I don't know, Michael Jordan?
No.
How about Dennis Rodman?
No.
Okay, these are the dudes that Scottie Pippen has to go up against. Green. This is the dude in the chat. Green. These are the dudes that you. These are the dudes that he's telling me that had to go up against Kawhi Leonard. Those dudes aren't the dudes that I just named that Scottie Pippen has to go up against in order to win Defensive Player of the Year. No, Tony Allen is not on the same level with Gary Payton. He's not on the same level with Joe Dumars. No, he is not.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you know, we're not even counting Alonzo Mourning. We're not counting Tumbo.
No.
And if you allow me to put some context to Defensive Player of the Year award, people have to understand when it first started, it was something they wanted to give to guards. That's why the first 5 of the first 6 winners were shooting guards, because they thought it was something that the guards didn't have any award that went to them. It was a big man's league. And then somewhere in the 90s, somebody decided that the rim protector was more important. And then from there, it went to nothing but big men, except for that one odd year that they gave it to Gary Payton. So at the end of the day, Scottie Pippen, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan ended up not winning Defensive Player of the Year just because of their position. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there was times you could have said, hey, these guys are elite. And mind you, it's the media voting. There is no real criteria for Defensive Player of the Year. So it's really subjective, and it's only praised as an award because Michael Jordan has one. Other than that, no other player's career is boosted because they won Defensive Player of the Year, such as Rudy Gobert, who holds 3.
And on top of that, and he's probably gonna win it again this year. And then when you got guys playing at that level, so for example, the fact that Tim Duncan never won the Defensive Player of the Year, yet he played at that level for, I believe there was 8 times or 7 times in 9 years. He finished 7 times in 9 years. He finished in the top 5, and 4 of those times he finished in the top 3. So he was playing at that level. That doesn't diminish him not winning it, because he was still playing at that level as a defensive player. 100% he was playing as a defensive player. Anthony Davis, Jeremiah, Anthony Davis is not a better defender than David Robinson. No, he is not. Anthony Davis is not a better defender than Scottie Pippen. Anthony Davis is not a better defender than Hakeem Olajuwon. Anthony Davis is not a better defender than Dennis Rodman. No, he is not. No, and Anthony Davis is a fantastic defender. He's not a better defender than those guys. No,
they're naming some. You know, they're naming guys that are great, but they're just not there yet. They're not on the all-time. They're not on the all-time list yet. They're not there yet, and that's the thing. And that's fine because they still have a career to go.
Yeah, it ain't over.
It's not over for a lot of these guys. But you know, at the end of the day, we have to be objective, and you know. I just hate the whole playoff dropper and playoff riser talk, because people don't understand the circumstances to why a player like Julius Randle didn't go off against Miami. You see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily about willpower like people say. There is so much that goes into a game. There's so much context into it. There's so much about matchups that changes everything. You know what I'm saying? So, so like I tell people, man, and let's give Julius Randle some time. He could be in the playoff 2-3 more times. We don't know how many more playoff games Julius Randle's going to play. We don't know. So, you know.
And to your point, I mean, a lot of people don't remember, it took Olajuwon 10 years to win it. It took him 10 years before he was able to do it.
And lost in the first round multiple times. He was a first round. And the only reason numbers look great is because he lost so many times in the first round, playing 3-4 games.
Yes.
People don't want to give him. People don't want to put that on him.
Got swept out of the playoffs, I think 4 times in the first round. Got swept out of the playoffs 4 times in the first round. It happened. Yep. Seattle owned Houston, just so we know. Seattle owned them. I think they beat them 6 times in 8 years and bounced them out of the playoffs. They owned them. So with all of that being said, I think it's a really interesting conversation when you talk about being a playoff riser and in the regular season. I just feel like these two things go hand in hand. I don't think that those two things, I don't think that one means more than the other if you're not getting both. If I'm getting subpar play in the regular season and I'm getting elite play in the postseason, well, what that tells me is, are you bringing it every night? That tells me that you're not bringing it every night, because the greats, they gave me what they gave me in the regular season is very similar to what they gave me in the postseason. It wasn't this in the regular season and then this in the postseason. No, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You have to. That's what separates the greats from the regulars, is that you perform well in the playoffs and also in the regular season, and it's constant. Like I said, I have this 10-year rule. If you're going to be in the top 10, you have to be great for 10 NBA seasons.
That's my
you know,
metrics.
at least. So, but let me let you go, brother, so I can keep watching this Heat game. Hey, real quick question. Are you sitting like on the arm of your sofa or something, brother? It doesn't look like you're sitting in a chair, bro. Like, where are you? What are you sitting?
I'm sitting on my ottoman right here. That's what I have.
Oh, you're sitting. Okay, see, that's why I knew you were sitting with something that had no backing, brother. Sit with something that got some backing.
I
You're
got
gonna hurt
an
yourself.
ottoman right here. I got an ottoman right here. I stay stretched. I got my inversion table outside, so I keep myself busy. I keep myself stretched. I'm good.
All right, listen. Trust me. Listen, I'm gonna take your advice. I'm gonna call my mother, but you gonna get a chair. You gonna get a chair with a back for me, okay? You gonna get a chair with a back for me.
Hey, go. Good to talk to you, brother. You know where to find me at, my man.
All right, man. Peace,
out,
Chill.
Peace. That's my man. I'm gonna see him on Sunday. I'll see him Sunday. He's hosting a TikTok live, and 100%, I'm gonna definitely be there because he's a 49er fan. So that should be dope. That definitely should be dope. So I'll be interested to see that. But it's about that time for me, guys. It was good to see you guys tonight. I enjoyed this. I will be back soon. I'll be on Chill with Chill tomorrow, in addition to being on the panel in the morning. I will see you guys soon. But until then, drink water, put on a suit. Don't drink and drive. Call your mother. If you ain't got nothing to do, call your mother. I do have a super chat that I have to get to. There's one super chat that I have to get to. Vince Carter, great regular season, but underperformed in the postseason. Yeah, he did do that, Moody. Yes, he did. 100% he did do that in the postseason. He was not. I am on record saying that they made a mistake after 2009 trading for Vince Carter, because I didn't think they were that far away with the crew that they had. I did not think that they were that far away with the crew that they had currently had at that point. I thought that they made a mistake trading for Vince Carter and giving away what they gave away. I feel like they ruined what they had. They were on the verge of doing something special. So, but I gotta bounce. But until then, take it light. But take it. I will see you guys soon. Absolutely, man. This was fantastic tonight.